Hello, Internet. Okay, we're doing a video response to my own video because that's the level of silliness that YouTube pulls me towards with its algorithms. Um, but that's a joke. So what we're actually doing is we're responding to this gentleman's comment. Kenneth, he is a human that I know through the internet, and he's poking holes in my stuff. So bless him. So his comment, his good stuff as always, but I'm going to question the drill some. As most people know, one-leg drills have been around forever. Fact check, no they have not. But Seabass, Loop Ghost, and Ace It have all covered them. I don't know who was first. I know John was last. Jason and Andrew can fight over who did one-leg drills first. I think both of their one-leg drills are great. They're excellent things to work on. Especially, I think Jason was getting close to something very cool right when he disappeared from the internet. By the way, Jason, come back. We need you. But I'm not super familiar with John's stuff. But Seabass and Loop Ghost have excellent one-leg drills, and I'm sure John does too. I just haven't spent as much time with his stuff. Okay, anyways, focus. And I'm not too sure how your drill is nearly as good as a one-legged hammer throw from a tilted brace. Well, maybe it's not. With a weighted item like a hammer, you naturally get the timing, posture, and swing thought sorted out much quicker than the drill shown here. Sure, that's not the point. This is a very different drill with a very different goal. We'll get into that. Because it will suck if you swing a hammer wrong. Yes, it will, and you'll hurt yourself if you swing a hammer wrong. Your swing plane thought with a kettlebell, I can understand. Cool, yeah. Center of the rotation on the spine. That's kind of the whole deal. I would resort to longer swings than what you show. I will try that. I think there's a good demo in there too, showing how you would throw the kettlebell forward and stay in balance, which Jason has done to some extent, swinging a sledgehammer, and I bet Seabass has something similar too. And I know John does. John swings a lot of hammers. Long swings where you let the weight dictate the body's movement is pure gold. Yes, but not the body's movement, the body's timing. Then you want the body to dictate the body's movement, because when we actually throw a disc, it doesn't have enough weight to dictate the body's movement. So we need to get that feel. I think we're saying the same thing there. Slowly build up the feeling of momentum in the body. Yeah, you want to feel powerful momentum in your body. Sorry if this doesn't make sense. It does. Language barrier a little bit, but we'll get there. Not a dig, merely just trying to open a debate and see what you think. Consider that accomplished, sir. Thank you. Okay, so let's loop back to it again. One-leg drills have been around forever. Yeah, this is a one-leg drill, but it's not just a one-leg drill. The point is not throwing like this right now. The point is changing the way your brace works. And let's stop staring at the comment. And my camera doesn't work. Awesome. Why would my camera work? Oh, because it's not plugged in. Hold on. Okay, now you can see me. Okay, so swinging a heavy thing. Yes, absolutely. That's a thing. It's a useful thing even. When you're swinging something heavy, safety thing, go really slow. With something like this is like a 2-pound weight, 3-pound weight. If you even that hard, it is very easy to hurt yourself. Do not do that. Feel the weight here, and then play with doing a little tiny bit of a hula drill or a twirly bird thing, and letting it break here a little bit. Let the elbow break, and feel how that increases the weight here. There's a ton of useful stuff in there. That is absolutely not the point of my drill. This is a great thing to do, and it will help get your arm timing figured out and understand how your body needs to relate to your arm timing. That's a totally different thing. The point of this drill is to feel what it's like to have your rear hip lead in Jason's words and Loop Ghost's words. He says that a lot in one of his one leg videos. We'll look at them in a second. The point of this drill is to feel the momentum coming from the rear hip and to feel it coming to a stop point here where your hips get bound up here. When you get that figured out, and when you get the thing I went over in part 3 of the video series, how to get this knee and this hip to move backwards linearly without rotating, right? We do not want to rotate. That will put a shearing force on the knee. That will also make your brace crap. You want this to go straight backwards. When you get it going straight backwards, when you get that actually happening in a throw, you can put so much more force into this leg because you're not worried about hurting your knee. Like I've said this before, but I spent 6 months going to the park trying to throw and squirreling my knee out of the way. That happens to a lot of people in Loop Ghost drills. Like he says he wants the knee bent, and that puts a degree of slop in there. So he figured out how, like he talks about this little like scoop motion, and that helps get your rear hip moving in the right spot. That was the biggest, most brilliant contribution that he made to the backhand. He didn't quite get the front leg stuff figured out yet. He was super close. He was talking about, you know, how do you pinch your knees together to get some containment here. He also spent a lot of time, well, not a lot of time, but he mentioned getting your booty out, which is part of the equation. But you don't just want this out on a bent knee. A bent knee can't express force very well. You want this out and a straight knee, because that's how you put force into the hip, is straightening the knee. When you get that figured out, you can press on the ground so much harder, and you can actually get containment, and that pop can actually go into the disc. So that's why this drill is, I'm not going to say it's better, I'm going to say it's totally different. It's building a different throw than what those guys were after. So let's pop back to not demo mode and look at them. A million tabs open as always. Trying to keep track of stuff. Okay, so here's Seabass. I will mute them. So same thing. All these guys, I'm going to assume that John has a rear leg counterweight as well, and they say as much. At least Jason does. I'm not sure Loop Ghost. No, I'm not sure Andrew said it. Sorry, I should use people's online names, not their real names. Seabass has his leg in the right position. He's not locking his front leg though. And I think that's, oh goodness, that's fast. I think that's because he's progressed past that point and doesn't need to do that anymore. But I don't think that's necessarily a good place to start. But look at the rear hip. Excuse me. It's, I don't want to say it's spinning out because he'll chew my head off, but the knee is spinning out. It goes forward. So that's the difference, right? Look at how the foot is starting to rotate. You shouldn't need your front foot to release in a standstill, especially when your rear leg is going backwards like this. So so now look at the rear foot and how the rear foot lifts up. It lifts up, and it's rotating in place. It's the rear foot is everting. This is correct, and the foot does move to the right a little bit. This is like a Ken Climo style scoop, and that way of throwing works very well for Seabass. And he says this was 340 from a standstill. I cannot do that, so maybe don't listen to me. But I really think we're onto something with this new form, and what Seabass is doing here is not the new form. This is the old form where your hip spins out. So there's no hip containment there. Like I don't want to say there's none. There's a little bit, but you can get more. So he is bending and then scooping and coming through a little bit. And what I want in this new model that Brian helped me figure out is you want the foot to stay there and even move forward. Boom. And that's going to be, there's no reason for the foot to open. The only reason the foot needs to open is if you really slam your rear leg into it. So that would look more like where I do have a weight shift and then I shift forward. So that's going to look like that, where it does need to open a little bit, but my leg stays behind me. There's like a whole beat where the leg stays there. That gets you more of a stop point in the hips, which is what allows you to power the front leg. This is how Albert Tom throws. This is how Drew Gibson used to throw. This is how he lets his hip come through more. That's a calculated decision. And this is how David Wiggins Jr. throws. Like, look at the video that Chris Taylor posted on Instagram, Coach Chris Taylor. And Wiggins throws. He plants a little bit open. He opens his leg a little bit before he plants. But then his plant, it only moves like 10 or 15 degrees. He just goes bam, and then all of the momentum is gone. And he just goes to relieve a little tiny bit of pressure. It's not what Jason is doing, which is stepping through. It's not what Seabass is doing here, which is scooping and coming through a little bit. It's totally different. It's a more balanced brace that is balanced right to left. So if you do this, all the power is on the right, on the disc side, and that doesn't get you enough containment for the brace to actually do its job. That is balanced, where the rear foot actually goes that way. Wiggins does it. He'll do it by like having a pop that bounces. Tam does the same thing. It's different. Go look at it. Be critical. So let's take a look at Jason for a second. Wow, this is long already. Internet, I talk too much. Did you know? You did know. So I don't want to like play his whole video, but so same thing. He is getting a good counterweight here. He is bending the front knee, which I think is probably a useful step in a progression, but that knee moves too much. It rotates forward. That's going to stop you from containing. And look at the rear leg. Rear leg everts and immediately goes left. That's not what we want. And then when he actually... Oh no, it's the other one where he actually throws. Yeah, so this, I've got this queued up at the right spot. But it won't play. So this prime motion that he figured out, definitely shifting from behind him. Look at the knee. Here, frame, it moved 4 inches. Frame, it moves 2 more inches. This is a buckling brace. It's not what we want. And then look at the rear foot. It lifts up in place and immediately comes around left. See that? That little shockwave you had right there? So here it goes, bloop. That little that runs down his leg. You want that to happen, but you want the leg to be pointed almost to the camera when that happens. Watch, let's just go find Wiggins. My Instagram defaults to Michael Strauss. I like that. It's a good thing. So what do I need? I need to search for Coach Chris. There he was. Search for Coach Chris Taylor. It's his icon. Not that one, this one. So it's so good. Like, oh, I can't pause it though because it's Instagram. But you see the little boop? That's the same little shockwave that Jason had. Wiggins just has a way bigger one because he's Wiggins. So the rear leg moves to the right. Bam, the shockwave actually happens after the disc is gone. I'm not quite sure what that's about, but that is a balance brace. So look at his front foot. Plant's a little bit open, but it does not move. It slides 5-10 degrees. He is locking into that brace in a way that no coaches that I'm aware of have tried to coach to that. If I'm wrong on that, please let me know. I would love to watch someone's stuff that's trying to get people to brace like Wiggins. But it's better for power. It may not be better for golf. And that's what that's where Drew Gibson is right now. Like, he could throw farther if he did this style, but his swing thought is thrown to the camera, belt buckle to target, because he wants this to come through, because that gets him a more fluid cannon where you're almost thinking about the disc moving in a straight line. It doesn't move in a straight line, even the way that he throws, but thinking that way can kind of make it... I think he is optimizing for accuracy over raw power. You get more raw power if you go Wiggins and get everything to stop here. And I think that style can be perfectly accurate. And once you get a consistent rip out happening at 10 o'clock, that style gets very, very, very consistent. But what Drew is doing is he's optimizing for having the disc be in a cannon barrel. That's how I think of it, that like it's just going this way, and his hip power is kind of going to come with it, and that it's like curling, right? He's sliding on the ice with his disc, and he just lets it go, right? So he's coming through with the disc, and it comes out of his hand, so it's always going to be going the same direction. It works. Like, if I backload a grip, like how I think of Philo throwing, because he has very long levers and he can just make it happen, if you backload, the disc is going to come out at a more consistent point versus power gripping. If you power grip, there's a ton of force that the disc has to overcome. So if your ejection point isn't super snappy, you're going to have a lot of variance. I think a ton of accuracy can be achieved both ways, but the way that Wiggins braces is still relatively unknown in the coaching community. Like, we don't know how to get people to do that yet. So, Kenneth, I hope that answers your question. All, 20 minutes of it? Almost, 17. Yeah, so if anyone has any more questions or comments on that, please poke holes in it. Like, that helps me refine the ideas and explain them better to you. So, let's call it there. Thank you, Internet. And again, go check out the Patreon if you're interested in coaching. And if you want to buy a bag or anything from Upper Park Disc Golf, please go do that. Use my discount code. It'll get you 15% off, and it'll get me that 15%. So that's a great way if you want to buy some stuff from a cool company to help me out in the process. All right, Internet. See you next time. Thank you.